Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jessica Smith and I help you simplify home education so you can work wonders in your home. I am continuing a series I'm doing on how I teach language arts in my home using Charlotte Mason's methods and her principles. And I'm going to talk to you today about a phonics and spelling program that I use. It's called Words Their Way. Now, Charlotte Mason did not use an actual phonics or spelling program back in the late 1800s. However, really poring over her book, Home Education, which I've read a few times, looking at the principles of how she taught school or how she taught reading and spelling, I feel like this is in line with what she taught, because she said at the beginning that children should be taught a key or pattern to words and then look at words that have that key or that pattern. And I'll include the quotes that I'm telling you in the description in case you want to look those up or read over those quotes to understand what she said better. So after reading that, I thought, word study really fits that principle that she's talking about when she taught spelling. So if you're not familiar with Words Their Way, it is a public school program for teaching spelling and phonics. It is based on developmental stages and a ton of research that has been done on how kids develop spelling. Interestingly, spelling abilities and reading abilities don't match. So a child can be a great reader but not a great speller. Most of the time, kids' ability to spell is very predictable based on their age and their stage in development. So that is what Words Their Way is based off of. It's also based on the idea that there are patterns in the English language. There are also rule breakers, or what we call oddballs, that don't follow the rules. But most of them follow a predictable pattern. And so children are given a list of words, or a list, they're cut out. I'll show you a picture on here. And I'm also going to show you a video of what that looks like in our home. But little strips of paper with words on it. And the children look at those words, they read them and listen to the sound, and then they put them in patterns based on their sound or how they are spelled. Now, what I love about this program is that it puts the child in an active role of learning versus sitting there passively listening to the teacher lecture about rules or spelling patterns and then having to memorize them by rote. That just is not, it's not teaching children to be lifelong learners. It's not teaching them to be active participants in their education. And so I love this program because the child is the active participant. They are the ones that are sorting the words and they are finding the patterns. And so they'll sort the words, then they look at them and they tell you what they learned. So if they were sorting words with an EA in the middle, and then they would be sorting words with E in the middle and an E at the end, then they would tell you what pattern they found. Well, this one with an E at the end usually has a consonant right before the E at the end, whereas the words with an EA usually have this type of consonant at the end, right? And if you need to, you can help them by saying, well, what do you notice about this? What do you notice about that? And so pretty much that is what it is. The children are actively looking at words, sorting them. They're noticing, they are making decisions on where things should go, and then they're making conclusions based on what they heard and what they saw with the words. And this is going to make a lot more sense when I actually show you a lesson with my son on what that looks like. So there is the teacher's manual, which I bought before, and I was so confused. There's just a lot. There's a lot in here. And I think that's why it's not used very much. And so I'm going to just explain to you exactly what a lesson would look like, and also tell you that there are actual manuals to go for each stage. So they're going to have the word sorts that you copy, you cut out, and then it has questions and things to ask them to help them figure out the patterns on their own. I was trying to do this all on my own and it was hard. So luckily a mom told me about the individual manuals, and this has been a game changer for me. And So I have a lot here that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to also show you what our lessons look like with words their way. Now, we pick a spelling pattern and my child just learns that or does activities with that until they learn it. There's not a predictable, oh, it's going to take 1 week or it's going to take 1 month. It approximately takes a week, but it might be 2 weeks if the child is having a hard time. The other thing to realize is that this is developmental. So if your child is not doing well with a word sort, then they may not be at that stage yet. So the best thing to do would be to just take a break, keep reading, keep doing copy work, and then try again in a month or 2 and see if that word sort makes more sense to them now that they're older. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in and show you what a lesson would look like, or a complete word sort over the course of a week or 2, and what the different activities are that you would do every day. Before you begin doing word sorts, begin doing word sorts, you're going to want to figure out which stage your child is in. This is from my Form 1 curriculum guide that I sell on my website. I have it all written out for you here, what language arts and reading would look like. Here, this is an adaptation from the Words Their Way handbook for teachers, and I just made it fit in with Charlotte Mason's principles and how she taught language arts. So here is the approximate age that your child will be and the form. This is how you can assess which stage your child is in or which book they're going to be in. So for letter name, does your child spell this way? And yes, I have seen my son spell that way. Sad or send, SD, lump might be LUP or lump. So ask your child to spell these things and just see how they spell. If they spell these all correctly, then you'd want to try these words: cry, nail, boat, back. If they spell somewhat like that, then you're want to be in this stage, which is within word. And that is this manual, Word Sorts for Within Word Pattern Spellers. If your child spells all these correctly, then have them spell these: hopping, pleasure, attend, hockey. And if they spell somewhat like this or they don't spell them correctly, then you're going to want to be in this book, which is syllables and affixes. And then the last one is derivational, I think is how you would pronounce it. I have only read it. And that is what my 10-year-old is in. He's in the derivational relation spellers, which is like Latin and Greek roots. And this is the last one. Once your kids have done this, they are done. They don't need to do any more spelling or phonics. And these are the types of words that would be in there. I mean, they're pretty advanced words. And I'm going to include this as well as the spelling checklist in the Patreon. So if you're a member of Patreon, you'll be getting these. If you're interested in becoming a member of Patreon, it's only $5 a month. And I just put a lot of bonus material from my YouTube videos and my podcast. So if you want to support what I'm doing here with YouTube and with podcast, it's a great way to support me as well as get extra bonus material like all of these printables. So here is the spelling checklist. And once you've gotten in the habit, you don't really need the checklist. It's there to remind me. And I've adapted it a little bit since I first printed this. So this pretty much is the method that is described in the teacher's manual. It's just very simplified and much more easy to use in a home school setting. So first, they sort the words in the same categories sort the words in the categories in the head words that I give them. So it could be like quake and quack would be the head words. And then they look at all the other words and see which pattern or which words fit those different groups. And so they would sort those, and then we would talk about them. And in the Words Their Way, so here is, for example, here's sort 8. Here's pig, kite, and oddballs. And these aren't oddballs, but these are just the head words that I might put up. And he's going to look at the I in words. He's going to read the words and tell me or he's going to sort them into if they have an I sound or an I sound. Obviously that would be lip or slide. And so then I have these head words up, and he will read each one, and he'll put these little strips of paper where they would go. And there's an oddball, which would be give, because it makes an I sound but also has an E at the end. So that's what we would do. And I would say, okay, do you notice any patterns here? And oh, well, when E's at the end, the I makes an I sound. And when there's no E, it makes an I, except for the oddball. So that's what we would do the first day. And I actually don't use this one anymore, and I'm going to have an updated list in the Patreon. Then the next day I do a blind sort. The next day would be a written sort. And then the last day, time yourself. And then the second to last day, and then the last day on Friday, then we would be just reading or doing copy work and ask them, can you find any words that go with the pattern we learned this week? Or can you think of any words? And so brainstorming some words and adding that in his notebook along with the other words from the sort that he's written down. So that's why I took this one out. So ideally you can do one activity each day, or even two. If you want to do it every other day, you can just do two. Now, if your child does the written sort well, I would say you don't need to keep doing any more activities. If it's clear that this is super easy for them, then move on to the next one, the next activity, the next sort.
That's an oddball.
Yep.
It's a P, but
it's an E at the end, right?
Yeah.
Guide.
Clip. Clip.
If. What sound
Kip.
is
Clip.
it? Does it go in the I or the I? Okay, great.
Swim.
Yeah.
Lip.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, that C usually would make a K sound.
Yeah.
But in this word, it makes a S sound.
Spill. This is not but spill. Oh no. Hike.
It's only 11.
Hike.
How's the reading going?
Hike.
But it's only 11 o'clock.
How about just do your reading and let me Theo do
Please.
ours, okay?
Plies. I know how to do this. Slide. Wheel.
Hold on, sound that out.
Oh, it's an oddball. Will.
Sound it out, buddy. It makes an I. Is it an I or an I sound? Are you thinking a wheel? Are you thinking wheel like on a car?
Yeah.
Nope, that's while. While I go to the store, you guys can play Legos. While. Yeah.
I put that down before. Mice.
Okay, what did you learn about these two sorts, bud?
That's it, and that's I.
Yeah, those ones make an I sound. What do you notice about all of these?
These ones have E's at the end.
Okay.
These ones have no E.
Okay, and what did you notice about give?
Give. It made a I sound, but it had an E at the end.
Yeah, so it's an oddball.
Give.
Okay, now I'm going to do a blind sort with you. This one, do you remember I read a word and you point to the category it goes into?
Yeah.
Okay, swim. Is it an I or an I? Okay. What about dice?
How
about dish?
Dish.
And gift. Gift. Great. Okay, now we're going to do a written sort, Theo, but since you aren't writing right now, we're going to do letters. So how about 9? Can you spell 9? There's N right there.
This way.
Okay. Which category would it go into? 9.
Yeah.
Okay. It's missing something. If it's in this category,
Oh, yeah.
what does it have at the end?
What do I have?
Okay. Okay, you check it.
That's right.
That's right. Okay. How about rich?
Rich.
This might be a hard one. I'm going to move this one over. Okay. Rich. What sounds make up rich?
I can do this.
Okay.
So all. E.
Do you remember what sounds make a ch sound?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. You got this.
Now.
All right, check it.
That's right.
Good job. So after you've done the open sort, the line sort, and the written sort, then you can do what is kind of the pinnacle of word study, which is applying what they've learned to new words that they haven't seen in the sorts. And you can find some additional words here at the end of the sort. So he did the sort number 8, which is the long I versus the short I. And so I have these additional words that I'm going to ask him how he would spell them. So you can do it a couple ways. You can just ask the child to write them down, or you can ask them to point to which category they think they would be. Okay, Theo, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Which? Can you point to the word, or which category which would go in? Good. Slid. Slid. How about skip? Skip. How about spine? How about spin? And smile. 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 Okay. And then how about this? Just sit crisscross applesauce, okay? You know how to sit crisscross? There we go. All right, Theo. Yesterday you learned, or we did a sort for short I and long I. Do you remember the long I words? What did they have at the end?
I.
They had an I in the middle,
E.
right? E. I'm going to read this story, and you, can you sit up, please?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'm going to read this story, and you are going to raise your hand whenever you see a short I or a long I word. Ready?
Okay.
Once upon a time, there were, right? 3 little pigs. You can point to it. Little pigs. One morning, the mother said, "You must go out and make your living." So they all set out. And this is the easiest way that I have found to store the word sorts, is just in these plastic sleeves. They are in my Amazon storefront in Language Arts collection. So if you want to purchase these, they're there. I think they're just like trading card type plastic sleeves for 3-ring binders if you wanted to search for them. And I just keep them in here. You can either write the number on the sleeve, or you could just cut out the number and what type of sort it is and slip it in there. I have done both, and both work well, and I just keep them in a binder on a shelf. I used to have them in my boys' binders so that they could access them, but they would always put them in the wrong way and dump out all the sorts, and it was impossible to sort them out again. So I keep them in a binder that only I have access to. And as always, if you like this video, don't forget to like it and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my newest videos. Thank you for watching.